What's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I'm going to go over the Wixwell clan boss team again. We are on the test server, so I'm just taking advantage of the last days of the test server just to try out some things. So I would love to thank a viewer that sent me this build that he was using. Remy Passanello, thank you so much for the email and for the heads up on the team. So we're going to showcase his team here. It's going to be a Wixwell clan boss team, but it's something that I've never actually seen before, and I think it might actually be helpful for some of you guys. It's probably the lowest champion requirements that you could have for clan boss, and I say that not because of the rarity of the champions, but because there's only 4 champions needed, not a whole team of 5. So usually when we see clan boss teams, it's 5 champions, but in this team there's only 4 champions. I've never really seen that, and the damage that it pumps out is actually pretty insane. So let's jump right into it. All right, so here is the team. It's probably something similar that you guys have seen for this little while with Wixwell, but it's only 4 champions. It basically saves you 1 complete champion that you have to build. So if this works for you guys, that's awesome. I would love it for you guys to save basically building out 1 whole champion. So anyways, let's go over this team here. I'm just gonna let it run first, and then we'll go over the champion requirements. I've tested this kind of comp quite a bit, so I think we can work out any kind of nuances that might happen or troubles that you guys have. So Wixwell will place his A3, his enfeeble, to basically protect your champions from the stun. He will place it on the champion that is the leader first. So if you put it on him, if you put himself as leader, he'll put it on himself first. If your DPS is stunned, that's not a big deal because your DPS isn't really necessary to keep the buffs going. He's just there for damage. So here you can kind of see that we also have a shield set on. So the shield set is the extra shield buff. So you have to make sure that your team has 2 of the shield buffs going into the fight. So one is the checkered shield right here, and then the other one is this half shield. So you guys make sure that your team has 2 of them the whole duration of the fight. So if they drop off on any of these champions, then you know there's something wrong with the speed tune. So here we got Anchorite. He's providing some extra buffs, crit rate, crit damage. And then we have Valerie here with the increased attack. Geomancer is pretty much a one-man show for damage. He's one of the better, or maybe one of the best damage dealers for a clan boss in this situation. He pumps out quite a lot, and as an epic, he's basically unmatched for damage in clan boss. So if you have him, congratulations, you're going to do a lot of damage. So you can kind of see there's some key checkpoints in these Wixwell builds. So usually what I found is that most people fail around the mid-teens in terms of turns. So around turns 13 to 17, you will find if your clan boss team fails, you're probably running through your buffs. So something's wrong with the speed tune, you're losing your buffs, or you're not getting enough extensions. So that's kind of what happens if you start failing around that turn limit. If you start failing around turn 30, that's when the clan boss starts hitting hard. And if you're losing about turn 30, that means the clan boss is probably breaking your shield. That shows a clear problem with Wixwell's growing ability. So Wixwell's growing ability, or his A2, basically comes from how many buffs you have on your team. So the more buffs you have on your whole team, the more increased durations that Wixwell can do, and the more your shields will grow. So if your team is dying at around turn 30, that means your shields are probably getting depleted by damage from the clan boss, which means Wixwell is not growing it enough. This can mean a couple things. This can mean that you don't have enough buffs on. That's an easy answer. You don't have enough buffs to grow properly. The other thing is that maybe your shields are taking too much damage too early and they're not growing well enough afterwards. So you can kind of see here we're starting to get the little small silver bars in terms of the shield. Wixwell's going to get the most silver bars first because he's the tankiest. Geomancer in this case versus Void takes a bit longer to get the silver bars, because he takes the most damage and he has the weakest defense and the lowest HP, so he takes the most damage. But we're nearing turn 30 here, and you see that the silver bars for the shields are getting pretty massive. At this point, we can be pretty comfortable that this run is going to go the full 1500 turns. It's going to go to turn limit against the clan boss. So hopefully that helped you guys out if you guys are troubleshooting a little bit. But the awesome thing about this team is that 4 champions can do this. The gear requirement on this is actually very modest in my opinion. I found that this tune works very well, obviously against Void. Against Affinity, Geomancer would do more damage because that's kind of how Geomancer's passive works. He basically will do more damage because you're reflecting more damage back to the clan boss. So here's the team again, and then we're going to do a quick battle here. We're comfortable that the run will go 1500 turns. We're going to do a quick battle here, and this is going to be on Void Affinity. And if it's taking a long time to get you the results, it's working. So here we go. We got 345 million damage from a team of 4 champions going against the clan boss. This is against Void Affinity. Pretty cool. Good amount of damage, very good amount of damage. So you can definitely scale this back if you're struggling for gear, for example. You definitely scale this back. You don't need any crazy stats, like you don't need crit capped or anything like that. So you can definitely scale back the stats. Let's try this again. We're going to try to get to Affinity and see if it works. But here we're testing again on Void, just to make sure the first one was a fluke. It doesn't look like a fluke. The damage is very consistent. And let's see here. So yeah, full 1500 turns. It did change to Spirit, so this is a good time to check it again against Spirit. Spirit is the one that places decreased speed on your team, so it messes up your speed tune. And waiting against Spirit. Well, it's a long one. And boom, 473 million damage against Spirit Affinity. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Like I said, versus Affinity, Geomancer would do more damage. So 473 million with only 4 champions. Yeah, in clan boss. It's actually super amazing. I've never seen something like this where it's only 4 team members. I mean, I'm sure it's possible that you can probably one key with 4 champions nowadays, because some champions deal just like insane amount of damage and they're super tanky and all that stuff. But anyways guys, let's go over the champion builds here. So here we go. This is pre-recorded footage that I was using on the test server. So here we go. We're gonna go on the Wixwell first. So Wixwell coming in here with the Reflex set. Reflex is still pretty mandatory for Wixwell. If you have Merciless set, Merciless can kind of work in replacement of Reflex. If you have Merciless plus Reflex, that's probably the best combination you could have. Also throw in a refresh accessory as well. Wixwell here could have benefited from refresh accessories as well. Here are the stats on the individual pieces, just so you guys know what you guys should be using. But mainly just defense, HP, and then proper speed for this. He is only 227 speed. So here are the stats for Wixwell. He's 227 speed. Make sure you have enough accuracy to land your decreased attack. It's very important. His HP is definitely overkill. You definitely want to stack up a little bit of his defense. His defense makes him more survivable, and it gives him more damage. So as much as you can, but these stats are totally not necessary in my opinion. You can definitely scale them back quite a bit. And yeah, we have no clan boss bonuses or anything like that, so these stats are true. Skills here, you're only going to look to book the A2. You don't need to fully book out this champion, just the A2. Make sure you get the cooldown reduction. Brimstone is probably the blessing of choice for the legendary on this team. If you have blessings on the epics, you can go for Cruelty or Phantom Touch for extra damage, of course. But Brimstone for the one legendary here. He's got some extra defense from the Brimstone. Masteries, very generic. War Master. War Master is the key for a lot of damage here. So no difference for Wixwell. You got War Master, you got Cycle of Magic for some extra skill cheating with the A2. Lasting Gifts just for some duration. You could go down to Master Hexer as well, so you can increase the duration of the attack down. So I didn't properly fill out these masteries, but I would definitely try to go for the Master Hexer here at the bottom right. Yeah, so to complete out the masteries, that's what I would do for Wixwell. So here's my Geomancer, here's my DPS for the clan boss. He's in a toxic set with Cruel, and he's built for 70% crit rate. So I basically gave him like full DPS gear. It's either this or like lethal gear, for example, but he's not going to benefit too much from lethal gear, so giving him a toxic set makes kind of sense to me. So I'm just going to show you guys the individual pieces. But basically I built him out so that he's 70% crit rate. Anchorite is on the team, so you don't need to build full crit rate. He does bring a crit rate buff. So here's total stats on him. 172 speed only. He's got 5k attack, 282 crit damage. He's got enough accuracy to land on Ultra Nightmare. Ultra Nightmare looking for about 230 accuracy. So here he's going to chip in with his HP burn. He's going to chip in with the toxic set. Make sure his A3 is booked. Cruelty, I went for Cruelty. You could definitely go with something else, but I think Cruelty works the best for him here, mainly because he's the only epic with a blessing, so I just went with it. War Master again for Geomancer here for some extra damage. Heart of Glory, make sure you have Heart of Glory on all your champions because they'll be at full HP the whole time. Master Hexer to extend his weaken and HP burns is good. So went with that here. So that's Geomancer, our damage dealer. Like I said, like Geomancer can be replaced with anybody, so you can replace him with any DPS that you want. Okay, so here's Anchorite. Anchorite is actually critical for this team because I found that because he brings 2 buffs himself and the extension, that that the extra buffs is actually critical to make this team work. So here's Anchorite here, fully booked. He only takes a couple books, so it's very nice. And here he's coming down to War Master again. He has lasting gifts to increase duration of his buffs. Not necessary, he actually doesn't really need anything here. You could take Cycle of Magic so you can get extra like extensions, for example, but not really necessary. Since we were pretty good with the buff durations, we don't need to cheat any more turns from Anchorite. So he's in a shield set. What I found is that you need 2 shield sets in his team to make it work, or you need basically 1 insanely geared shield champion. So from what I found, you need about 100k HP, 100 to 120k HP on the champions that have the shield sets. So basically like 250k HP champions with shield sets probably could do it, or 260k HP champions. So in this case, Anchorite, he's overshot the HP quite a bit. He's 80k HP, and yeah, so he's got a bigger shield set on. 224 speed. There is some flexibility with this. I believe you can go down to about 214, and then you can go up to just under Wixwell, which is like 227. But yeah, I'll show you guys the speed tune afterwards so you guys can make your adjustments. There is the speeds, they're kind of wide, the range are kind of wide, but make sure that the order is the same. Here's Valerie. She's going to be in the second shield set. Nothing fancy here. I'll show you guys the pieces here, but they are geared out pretty much to do maximum damage because I wanted to see how much damage this team can do. You only need the A2 fully booked. The A3 is not going to be used in this fight. Mastery is War Master. She doesn't really need anything else. And yeah, total stats here: 204 speed. She got about 60k HP. And yeah, a little bit of damage if you can chip in. Doesn't need accuracy or anything like that. It's very easy to build. Valerie's great because she brings increased attack, so she brings 1 buff as well as an extension, so it's very, very nice. So there you go. Looks good. That's the full team. I did try this variation with somebody like Sandlash. So Sandlash brings a 3-turn increased duration on her A2. So I was just trying to see if it would work without Anchorite, because Anchorite brings the same buff duration, but he also brings 2 extra buffs. So 2 extra buffs. I took the gear directly from Anchorite, made sure the speeds are the same. So Sandlash is 224 with War Master. The only difference here that I could see making this run not work is because the HP is a bit lower, but I don't think it is. All right, so after running it a couple times, I kind of knew that this wouldn't work out. So I just wanted to show it on video here. So we have Anchorite replaced by Sandlash Survivor. Direct replacement. They both have the 3-turn buff extension, but Anchorite has the 2 extra buffs for the whole team. So here we're running it with Sandlash, and after having a completed proper run with Anchorite, Sandlash fails pretty early here. And this, having such an early fail, like I said, guys, early fails mean that you're most likely not growing, or you're not having the duration properly increased. So in this case, we can kind of conclude that the 2 buffs from lost from Anchorite probably resulted in the failed runs here. So we're going to switch the gear back to Anchorite. Love this preset stuff, so good. Just like instantly do it, huge time saver. All right, so we're gonna go back into it, set up our team again. Put Anchorite back in his spot, make sure all the AIs are preset properly. So yeah, we're opening with his buffs first, and then we'll extend afterwards. So buffs first, and then Wixwell will extend everything, and then all the extenders will just extend everything. Yeah, and then that's it. Make sure everything's working. I think there is some things that can go wrong with this, so I did test it out against other affinities as well. So basically with this team, you will get, actually we'll go over it during the calculator, but I just want to show you guys the presets here again. Make sure you guys get everything going. It's pretty simple presets. Valerie doesn't need her A3 at all. She's going to open with her extend. Her extension is basically a buff as well, so you want to get her going first. But you don't need the shield from her. Yeah, Anchorite's right there. So we're going to run it again. And 423 million damage. The first one we did was 473, so it's a little bit variance there. Try it again. And just to make sure that it works one more time. And 420. So there we go. We got 420 there, looking real good. Well, I guess we're going to do it one more time just to check. And long, quick battling means that it's working, so that's good. 426. There we go. No 473. Seems like kind of like an outlier for damage, but there we go. All right, guys. So let's go over the speed tune and the clan boss calculator, just so you guys can play around with it and find your own speed variations if you guys need to. So I have the Deadwood Jedi site here. It's kind of interesting because we're not putting in the 5th slot. Like I said, I've never done this before, and I've never really seen it from somebody. So it's really cool to see that this team works with only 4 champions. But this is the speed tune. So if you guys are looking for like some variations in your speed, this is how it works. Keep in mind that I wanted to mention that this team works the best against Void, because you will get debuffed with this team. You can see here I have it set up to magic, and magic is placing the decreased accuracy on our team consistently. So this might be a problem if we need to land our debuffs, for example. So in this case, you might want to consider changing your lead to maybe like an accuracy lead if you can swing that, or increase the accuracy on your champions. The thing with these the thing with these debuffs is that Ancrate does have a debuff reduction, but it's going to be inconsistent when he applies it. And plus, because the speeds of this team is so low, it's unlikely that Ancrate will have it ready for this particular situation after the AoE 2 to reduce the debuffs. But I think it's possible. It's possible that it actually works out, but I'm not too sure myself. I haven't really played around too much with this calculator to make it work. But we did do a couple runs against Spirit, and for some reason the Spirit speed debuff was not affecting the tune during the runs that we were trying. So I would be probably pretty confident that it still works against most, like all affinities. But I have concerns against Magic Affinity because of the decreased accuracy that he places on the team. So if the decreased accuracy lands on the team, Geomancer is not going to deal any damage. Wixwell's not going to be placing the attack down, and if the attack down is not being placed, then your team's taking a ton of damage early, and then the shields might not grow, and that might be one of the reasons that your run fails early. So yeah, it's not a perfect build, but if you guys can bring maybe like a block debuff champion in Geomancer's place, you'll probably just make the run extremely easy that way. Like I said, we're bringing 300-400 million damage to the fight. You definitely don't need Geomancer as your DPS champion. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully this build and video were interesting to you guys. Like I said, I've never seen a speed tune with only 4 champions, and 4 champions dealing such insane amounts of damage against clan boss. Once again, Wixwell does it once again. He's always there to remind us that he is the community champion that we built, and he's pretty insane for clan boss. So once again, thank you, Remy, one of my viewers, for dropping this team comp on me. So I do appreciate that very much. If you guys have any improvements, let me know in the comments below. If you guys have any ideas for it, I'm sure it's a work in progress for everybody, and looking forward to some more cool teams with Wixwell in the future. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below. Once again, thank you for your time. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.